What is up, guys? Welcome to the newest episode of the Debate Mates. I'm Matthew, and I'm here joined today by the OG Debate Mate, the man, the myth, the legend, Nathan Poplin.
What's going on, guys? Good as always to be here with my best friend right here.
Oh, that's so sweet. And I know it's extra good for you to be here today, Nathan, because the Celtics are in the NBA Finals.
Absolutely.
So anyone that has ever watched a Debate Mates video with Nathan in it, which has got to be well over 75% of the videos, we all know Nathan bleeds green.
See us rise. I don't care how corny it is. See us rise, baby.
I've gone through phases where I've bled a slight green.
It's okay that
but
you. I appreciate your support. I appreciate, but you bleed black, my friend.
I bleed whatever color Kevin Durant wears.
That's true. You bled white, gold, blue and white,
blue and orange. Yeah,
blue and gold.
So
black.
As you can tell from our introduction and the Celtics going into the finals, we're going to be talking some NBA Finals in this video.
Can't believe we are already at the finals on the helm of off-season, one of the most exciting times. We go from postseason to off-season, and we got a whole new season. Only a couple months away in October. Should be great.
And game one's tonight, 9 o'clock. Warriors and Celtics in Golden State. Going to be a lot of fun. And rather than just throwing our predictions at you, we're going to talk about some things that we're excited to see in this series, some big storylines that we think will come up. Then at the end of the video, we'll tell you who we think is going to win and how many games and all that, finals MVP, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Before we get into all that, though, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share the videos with your friends. Follow us on Instagram at The Debate Mates and on Twitter at The Debate Mates. Starting to get more active on there. And if you're wondering, wow, this has been a long time since our last Debate Mates video. It has, but it wasn't actually as long as it seems, because me and Nate did record a video at the beginning of the playoffs. But upon reviewing the video, do you want to tell them, Nate?
So we had a really nice camera that Matthew had, I believe for your class, correct? That you just happened to have here. And we set it up all nice in this room, and we recorded probably about a 40-minute video. The one thing we didn't take into account, we took into account, we were like, and the mic should be fine on its own. And the camera mic should pick up on us. And I proceeded to leave, and I get a text from Matthew, and it says it just sounds like static. Like, none of it is useful. So that kind of bummed us out a little bit.
There's nothing.
And so here we are. There's nothing usable.
You couldn't even hear a whisper. It wasn't like I could go in and raise our voice a little bit because it was just overpowered. It was not there. It was non-existent.
And that was a banger video. We talked about some awesome things and some awesome takes. I mean, that's true. Every single video we put out is a banger. But this one was a really nice 40-minute banger. So I wish they could have seen it.
Then after that video, because we were so close to the finals, there's so many things to talk about. We were just like, let's let it rest. Now we have a good point to start back up on.
Beginning of game one.
Yeah, this is our jumping board, our diving board as we get into summer. And after the finals, we got all summer to talk about predictions,
off-season trades,
moves. So a lot of fun stuff going to be coming. And I'm working on a video for the Debate Mates, the NBA's 75th season in 75 numbers.
Heck yeah.
Which hopefully should be a fun video, going to be different than these. Just a little short video where we're going to talk about 75 big things that happened this season, 75 big numbers, records, all that good stuff. But before any of that, before the 75th season ends, we need to name a champion. And Nate, well, I don't want you to tell me who that champion's going to be quite yet. I want you to tell me one thing we got to look forward to in this series.
So the first thing I think I'm going to start off with is the Celtics, as you know, last series in Miami ended up winning in a nail-biting Game 7. Right. 3 of the games they won were at Miami. I don't see that in this series. I see better. I see it split half and half. Look forward to the Celtics to win 2 games on their home floor, one more than they did last time, and split it right down the road. You know what I mean? The Celtics are going to play better. I mean, these are 2 of the best fan bases I think in basketball, in my opinion. At least 2 of the loudest stadiums and supportive fan bases. Yeah. If you want to say that, whether they're best or not, but yeah, Golden State's always rocking, and so is Boston. And to Boston, I guess that series, the rocking crowd was their downfall, because they had to win 3 on the road. But it also shows that we can win on the road. You're not supposed to be a better road team than you are in your own home stadium, but that was the case for this past series. I don't see that happening. I see Boston winning more games on their home floor, because it's crucial that they win at least 2 of the 3 games they have on their home floor this series.
Yeah, I think this series might be decided after these first 2 games in, not Oracle anymore, in San Francisco at the Chase Center. Just because if the Warriors get up 2-0, they're not going to lose, I don't think.
And most likely
And
not.
if the Celtics split going into Boston, I think they have a good chance of going away with the series. And if they somehow win 2 games in San Francisco, then the series is over, practically. So these first 2 games, that's probably every series is decided in 2 games, really, the first 2, for the most part. But Steph Curry and Draymond, Clay, they're going to be able to win on the road. I don't have a doubt with them, like maybe I did with Phoenix and teams like that, which is why I think these first 2 games are more important in this series, because they're seasoned veterans who have had to win playoff games on the road before. So if you're down 2-0 or even tied going back to Boston, Golden State's going to have a pretty good chance to come back in Game 5 and either win a pivotal Game 5 to go up 3-2 or put you away.
Yeah, I believe we can agree that both of these teams are very capable of winning on the other team's home court.
I think Golden State is a little bit more capable, though. Boston's offense hasn't traveled extremely well, or some of their players. I mean, like Grant Williams has been inconsistent. Al Horford has been nowhere since the Milwaukee series.
But I think at times they do make up for it a bit defensively, because they kind of have to. They have no choice, especially Horford. Horford kind of impressed me a little bit last season with his, last series with his defense a little bit. So I was happy to see that. But I agree. This offense is nowhere. It is a really good offense when we're on, but we're not Golden State. We don't have the Splash Brothers. We don't have Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, who are pretty nice. We don't have. I mean, it's just our offense stagnates, and that's what's going to kill us if the defense. The defense has had to save us many times in these series and in this this run we've had since about January, I believe. The defense is the identity of this team, and so it's going to be hard if you're not matching point for point with the Warriors on the road or at home. The defense can only hold them but so much. So so I agree with you. It can be inconsistent at times, but I do think we are a better overall defensive team, even though they are no slouches defensively. Absolutely not.
This may seem like a bit of a weird take, but I feel like neither of the one reason the playoffs and the conference finals felt kind of underwhelming to a lot of people, aside from the blowouts, is it doesn't really feel like the deserving champion is going to win the championship this year, to me at least. I still feel like Milwaukee's the best team in basketball and would have won the championship if Middleton never got hurt. They were on the precipice of making it to the conference finals without Middleton, and they didn't really have any moments throughout the season or in the playoffs where they showed any sort of weaknesses, really. Golden State got blown out in Memphis. They had the 50-point debacle in Game 5. That's not something you look back at championship teams and see that happen in the playoffs, really. And then Boston started out the season terribly. They got it together. Swept Brooklyn. Looked really strong. Went to 7 with Milwaukee. Had a couple of shootouts there. And then trading blowouts with the Heat. It's like, a championship best team in basketball doesn't trade blowouts, I don't think. Milwaukee didn't trade blowouts with Brooklyn. They got beat the first 2 games in Brooklyn pretty badly, but then they figured it out and got together, and from there on, they were strong. Boston was going back and forth with Miami. It just kind of felt like Milwaukee was the one team that had everything going for them, had a championship moment. So it just feels like the team that wins this year won't be... I'm not going to look back and remember them as good as the Bucks,
I disagree with the fact that they're deserving. Do I think the Celtics were the best team in the East? No, they were not a better team than the Bucks. And the Middleton thing probably does decide the series. It was a Game 7. If Middleton plays, I don't know if it necessarily goes to a Game 7. Who knows? If Ben Simmons had played for the Nets, who knows that if we sweep or even win that series, we probably do. I don't know if it's necessarily a sweep, but you never know. I believe I forget how many games Tyler Hero was sidelined for this last series.
He basically was sidelined in Game 7 too. He only played a couple minutes in the first half.
He played, I believe, the first 7 minutes and had 0 points to show for it. So he's still dealing with stuff too, But I think both these teams deserve to be here. But I get what you're saying. We definitely thought Milwaukee and Phoenix was the matchup again, because they felt like the 2 most rounded out teams. A 63-64 win team, and then Giannis, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, this team, Brook Lopez, this depth-filled Milwaukee squad. They were definitely a better team than the Celtics, but the Celtics, I think, out-hustled every team they played in this series. So I think we deserve to be here. And Golden State played some basketball and some bad.
A lot of teams have played some basketball.
Some good basketball and some not good basketball. But I think I can. Maybe I once thought Phoenix was the deserving team, but after seeing the blowout from the Mavs, I don't know. I feel like my opinion changes. on that. I mean, I understand if you don't think either of these teams deserve it. I mean, that's cool. They definitely weren't who we thought were the best teams overall out of their respective conferences coming in. But I just disagree. I think both these teams deserve. I'm a little biased too. I think both these teams deserve to be where they're at right now.
So that'll take me to my next point. Not really a clear segue, but I'm going to go there anyways.
Lay it on us. Come on.
Who is going to adjust to who? We talk about these teams throughout the regular season and now into the playoffs. They play very different styles of basketball. Both teams like to shoot threes, so they're similar in that aspect. But Golden State likes to play small. They've started Draymond at the 5. Kevon Looney's only about 6'9". Mm-hmm. They run a small ball death lineup out there. With preferably, they want Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond all on the court at the same time with Andrew Wiggins there too. That is their best lineup. Boston likes to run basically the polar opposite, with Jason Tatum, who's 6'10", 6'11", at the small forward. Al Horford, so he would be the tallest player on the Warriors. Then Al Horford, about 6'11". At
more of a traditional
forward.
lineup of getting a shorter point guard and shooting guard.
Well, even Marcus Smart is like 6'4".
Yeah, he's not small, but Jaylen Brown, I believe, is about 6'6", 6'7". Tatum 6'9", Horford 6'9", and then Robbie Will probably about like 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah, so I think Golden State's going to have to be the team to adjust to Boston, because normally Golden State could expose switches for teams that play big, but Rob Williams can move his feet. Al Horford can move his feet really well, especially or even for a 35-year-old, which he is. He's been out there sticking with John Morant in the regular season, so I have no worries about him switching on defense. So Golden State, what are they going to do? Are they going to try to go super small and just hope that their little bit of quickness can outweigh Boston? Or, because Boston doesn't go a whole lot in the paint. They're not a big post-up team either.
Well, this series they might have to be. I mean, we can do it, and that might be the game plan. Is because if that's the lineup they're going to run tonight to start off, just to get a feel, Boston might be playing a lot more in the post and taking like 53s like they did in that. I believe it was against. Was it Brooklyn they did that against?
Yeah, and Golden State's not going to be able to switch because Steph Curry will not be able to get stuck down on Al Horford.
And Klay Thompson, I think a lot of analysts have all said this. I do believe you can't be. At one point, we were talking about him like a top 3 two-way player. I think the defense is not entirely gone, but injuries do affect that, and he's getting older. So I think defensively, he's not as much as a presence as the Klay of old, but he's still not one to slight. Still got to be much aware of him. Like if you're Jaylen Brown, you got to be very much aware of him on the defensive end. But I think who's going to adjust to who? I kind of think, I don't know if this answer makes sense, but I think they both kind of adjust. I mean, Warriors are gonna have to adjust in the paint. And Warriors play very, very transition heavy, very, very fast style out in the perimeter. So that's something Boston's going to have to adjust to too, because that's not something, honestly, they had to deal with. You had Jimmy Butler and you had Bam Adebayo, your main stars, maybe a little bit with Tyler Hero having to guard out there in the perimeter. But you've got Steph Curry that can shoot it from literally anywhere on the court as far as he wants. Klay Thompson, who's a natural sharpshooter from all areas on the three, and so why does it have to be one necessary team? I think they're both going to have to adjust to each other on separate sides of the ball, on separate things. Boston may try to abuse, the inside, but Golden State is much quicker, much faster, much more athletic, in my opinion. And so they're also going to try to use that transition defense is going to be very important for the Celtics in this series. And I think that they were pretty solid throughout these past 3 series when it came to transition defense. And post defense, I think we got it pretty locked down. If Robert Williams is playing and Horford is down low with him, that's going to be hard. But who's to say,
Right.
But I do think both teams are going to have to adjust a bit of their game plans to win the series.
Boston's offense can't go on those scoring droughts that they go on. They cannot have extended scoring droughts.
Their offense tends to stagnate, and that's what's going to kill them. And because, like I think I told you before we started, the defense is fantastic. Best defensive team in basketball, no doubt.
Yeah.
There are no slouches, the Warriors, either, but, you can only guard Steph Curry and these boys but so much. Even though Steph Curry's like 33, that man is still a machine, and you have to be watching him at all times. But, we've seen when they played them, I believe Golden State was 3-1 in the series, that the Celtics are not afraid to double team and get out on Steph. And I feel like if we feel like we have the advantage inside, we may see quite a bit of that. Marcus Smart cannot fully guard Steph Curry. No. I'm sorry. I think he could lock him up a little bit, but maybe we're seeing a PJ Tucker, Kevin Durant sort of thing. Where at times he can stop him, but for the most part, it's not going to happen.
I would vote, and I'm curious to hear how you would line this up. I almost think you start Jason Tatum on Steph Curry or Jaylen Brown on Steph Curry to get some more height on him. Although Marcus Smart will definitely be more physical with him. And that's another thing that I think is going to change in San Francisco. when the Celtics play in Golden State is I don't think they get the benefit of the whistle as much as they've been getting. These Eastern Conference playoffs have been brutal as far as the flops, the whistles, the flailing, especially in Celtics games where there's
I know what you're saying.
Grant
and since it
Williams.
is the finals, it's not even just that they're going to Golden State and not going to get these whistles. The refs do tend to kind of tense back a little bit on the finals, and in big games like this, so they're not going to get as many calls as they're used to. But I think one thing we underestimate is just how versatile the defense of the Boston Celtics are. Most players on the squad, whether you're talking about Tatum, Brown, Smart, Horford, Grant Williams, can guard multiple positions.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's something I think the Warriors do have to take into account. We will switch Grant Williams onto Steph Curry, no problem. Whether it's good or not, it'll happen.
Right.
The switches are switch crazy. I believe Grant Williams could honestly guard probably the 1 through the 5. Honestly, if does he guard it I don't know, exemplary? No, but I mean he can. It's just the point of that the versatility defensively. Anyone can guard anyone. Honestly, we will be seeing some interesting matchups. I mean, we saw Marcus Smart on Giannis Antetokounmpo how many times?
And I don't think Boston will be afraid to throw doubles at Steph Curry
either. That's what I said.
And all their pre-switching and things like that.
Yeah, no doubt.
The ball, so it's not going to be as much of a burden as it is when the Warriors play most teams, where you're thinking, our best perimeter defender has to sprint around the court with Steph Curry. I think those Warriors, not the Warriors, the Celtics are going to be switching a lot of those screens where Curry's running around
and the fact that they have so many players that can switch really well is nice, and that can defend multiple positions.
So I think that'll help.
Is a big plus.
It will help. They won't be as fatigued late in games. I think the Warriors will, because they're not going to have to move as much off the ball on defense, because they can just switch everything, which Golden State can't really do.
So basically, Boston is going to cause some trouble. They are going to be, whether it's post defense or perimeter defense, they're going to be some trouble. A trouble that I think up to this point the Golden State Warriors really haven't faced a team that gave them that much trouble defensively. Memphis, Dallas, those teams really didn't give them as much trouble as these teams. I mean,
I don't think anyone in any team or any team is going to face a team that has as good a defense as Boston.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what they did to Kevin Durant, Giannis, and Jimmy Butler. We saw what they were able to do.
Right.
I mean, I definitely didn't think we'd sweep the Nets. I thought y'all definitely get at least a game, but you know what I mean? But we've seen what they can do, and we shouldn't expect any different from Golden State. If honestly, we should see more defensive intensity because we know what Golden State is. Golden State is a phenomenal team. We thought maybe the dynasty was going to take a back call, and they're trying to come right on back. Couple new pieces, they're like, let's go right back at it at the finals again.
So I mentioned Marcus Smart in my last little topic. I know you have one about Marcus Smart, so let's hear it.
So I have Marcus Smart at least one game going for 20 plus. He's done it, I believe, in every series up to so far. And I don't know if you know this, but when Marcus Smart gets 20 plus points, the Celtics this playoffs are 5-0. They are that's why I'm mentioning this, because they are undefeated because Smart is the one defensively. He's a defensive player of the year. We know how much of a hustler, how well he defends, but he does not take the smartest shots.
Yeah.
Ironically, he is not the best 3-point shooter. I believe he's like a 29-30% career 3-point shooter, something along those lines. He's not the best shooter, but when he does get active and get 24 points on offense, all of a sudden, and then you got Tatum and Brown coming for 22 like they always do. So look out for Smart to have at least one of his games. I think even Stephen A. said something like he'll have a game every 3 to 4 games. He's had at least one in every series. Heck, that's why I said at least one. For all I know, he could go for 2 and turn it up.
Right.
Most likely not, because offensively he's not the best. But he's the heart and soul of this team. He's the glue guy. Arguably we got 2 of the best glue guys in the NBA going against each other, and Draymond and Marcus Smart, 2 defensive stalwarts.
I thought you were going to say we have 2 of the best glue guys on the Celtics.
I think in the series, Horford's also a glue guard, but when I think glue guy, I look more towards Marcus Smart. And then Draymond is obviously the glue guy. Statistically, neither of these players wow you. But what they show you on the court is a different story. That's why they're so heavily regarded as these glue guys, as these defensive stalwarts,
Sorry, continue.
No, I'm done. I'm done. What were you going to say?
I'd like to see Marcus Smart get some time on Draymond Green, because the Warriors like to run their offense through Draymond, and I think Smart could get under his skin a little bit.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if we run it. Again, if we can run Smart on Giannis, we can run Smart on Draymond and anyone on this team.
I think all 5 Celtics starters will probably end up guarding all 5 Warrior starters at some point. So for me to say, I'm interested to see this matchup, I hope Boston exploits that.
In 7 or how many games you're most likely going to see it.
And Ime Udoka has already thought of every single defensive scheme either of us will mention. He and Brad Stevens have done an amazing job making this Boston roster. Basically exactly what any NBA person could ever dream of a roster to be. You want a long roster that's switchable, that can score. That's Boston. Boston has the perfect modern NBA roster. They didn't sacrifice height. They didn't sacrifice defense. They didn't sacrifice offense. And they have a great defense, offense. But speaking of offense, one of my points, and then I'll get back to your Marcus Smart thing, because
go ahead.
Together, is Boston's offensive inconsistency.
Yeah.
And that goes with Marcus Smart, because I could definitely see him coming into this series, coming into game 1, super aggressive, like too aggressive. Because Marcus Smart has those moments, and if he's guarded by Steph Curry, I could definitely see Marcus Smart either going and posting up Steph Curry because he's thinking he's going to get Curry in early foul trouble, and I think refs will be hesitant to get Curry in early foul trouble, even if he deserves to maybe be. Or just I could see him being like, oh, Steph Curry? No way. Man, this is going up.
Well, I mean, that's always a concern. In all of these series, that's been a concern. I mean, we even saw at the end of this last Game 7, 5 minutes left, Marcus Smart's taking a majority of the shots. We learned that that's not who he is.
But he thinks he is.
Yeah, he thinks he is.
At times.
And I think he just needs to, he knows what his niche is what's sad. He knows what his niche and what he needs to do. But he thinks he can go on and take over the game offensively. That's not. Stay in your role, guard one of the best players, guard the offense, make them struggle. And you know what? Take your open shots, but pass out when you can. Pass out to your Tatum and your Browns and your Grants who can hit from the perimeter or score inside. I think that's what he needs to do. I bet, if anything, Ime Udoka has talked to him about this. Like, look, we need you to stay in your lane and try not to sell the game. Honestly, like, you are not Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. You cannot take over offensively when you want. Now, defensively is a different story.
I wouldn't be surprised if they attack that matchup, though, Marcus Smart and Steph Curry.
I'm assuming that's what we're going to start out with. I'm just assuming. We're gonna run Smart to start the game on Steph. I am very interested to see who starts on Tatum, like you said.
I would go with Wiggins. I think Wiggins has been an outstanding... I mean, the things he did to Luka in the playoffs, Luka still put up pretty good numbers in that series against Golden State. But Wiggins is just an incredible perimeter defender.
And if that doesn't work out, if Tatum is able to stomp him, you always have Draymond to switch on to him too.
Draymond is probably... I think he and Drew Holiday are probably the 2 best defenders in the NBA right now. Although Marcus Smart
did they win Defensive Player of the Year?
Although Marcus Smart is currently
is Marcus Smart your third?
Although Marcus Smart is the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, I still think Draymond and Drew Holiday are the 2 best defenders in the NBA.
Is Draymond your third?
Draymond is 1 or 2.
I'm not Draymond. Is Marcus Smart your third?
Marcus Smart's on my Mount Rushmore of current NBA defenders.
Okay, that's all I need to hear. Because if you're gonna, I respect Drew Holiday. We know what he is, but. And I'm cool that you have him above Smart, but if you had him above Smart and then didn't have Smart on the list in the entirely, that's when I would have been mad.
No, Smart is up there. Smart is definitely in the top 4.
Yeah, you definitely made that known to me when Smart won Defensive Player of the Year that you thought Drew Holiday was a better defender.
I do think Drew Holiday is a better defender, but that's neither here nor there, even though I'm the one that brought it up. Yeah, I'm worried about his consistency, Marcus Smart's. I'm worried about the whole Celtics roster's inconsistency, even going up to Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart. Because Jason Tatum, although we've kind of thrown him all of a sudden into this top 10 player category, which he probably is.
Yeah, back into the top 10. 100% he's stuck in.
He's still very, very, very capable of going 5 for 19.
Yeah.
And then going the next game 8 for 12.
He also can be very slow and sloppy with his handles. Like we've also seen him be quite turnover prone in these series too.
There is no player in the NBA, no superstar or all-star in the NBA who dribbles as haphazardly as Jaylen Brown. Whether it's walking into charge or jumping into charges, running into charges, which I'm sure he's good for at least 2 or 3 a game, or just having a loose handle on it. Jaylen Brown has become a bit of a turnover machine, and Golden State's going to be hounding him, so that could be a problem too.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean, especially if someone like Wiggins or Klay Thompson is on him, or Gary Payton, they're going to be hounding him a little bit.
Prime Gary Payton, the superstar.
One thing,
not his son.
Jaylen Brown, the one thing that makes me mad is this man is a very good scorer, very good shooter from 3 and mid range. Man has not been hitting free throws. The easiest shots in basketball. he's not been making. Like, he has gone 0 for 2 on free throws a couple times, I believe, in these past 3 series. And that's ridiculous to me. I don't even know what he's shooting. I don't even want to know. If he's shooting, I mean, he could be shooting less than 50% from free throw. That needs to change. But if it's been happening the past 3 seasons, I'm scared that it won't change much in this next series, even though this is the series he needs to pick it up. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Both of our like stars/superstars can be very turnover prone and haphazardly with the ball, not keeping it close enough and losing it, and then we get beat in transition several times in the game, you know.
And I have no concern. I think Steph Curry will average over 20 this series.
Oh, no, 100%.
There's not going to be a single game, I don't think, where he goes less than 20 points.
You can't contain Steph Curry. Even 33, he's still one of those players you just can't contain. If you can shoot from anywhere on the court, regardless of how far it is, you're guaranteed to have at least 20 every single game.
But Jason Tatum, I would not bet money that he will score 20 every single game.
No, he won't. And
same with Jaylen Brown.
He'll have at least one game, I bet, where he gets 30 plus too. He'll have at least one game, but then he'll have games where it goes like 12, and Jaylen Brown will have to go for like 28.
Yeah, that's what concerns me, is there's too much like uncertainty with their offense. You don't really know who's going to perform well on any given night.
No,
with Golden State, you definitely do. Curry's going to go off for 20 plus every single night, I think. I guess aside from him, you have a little bit of questions. Like Kevon Looney has been solid these playoffs. Mm-hmm. And Draymond Green, between the two of them, they'll probably give you like 16 points. That's kind of solid.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's that gap between Curry and those two guys, where it's like any of these guys could go crazy or they could not play well at all. Jordan Poole could give you 30, but he also could shoot 10%.
Well, actually,
Klay Thompson could give you 30, but he could also shoot 10%.
If you don't mind, you mentioned Jordan Poole. That is actually, I feel like you disagree with my take on this, but that is my last and final thing to look forward to. I don't believe that Jordan Poole, and I guess you could measure this in different ways, I don't believe he has a good series overall. Not saying that he can't go for a game and get 20 plus. What I'm saying is I think the Celtics, one of their goals is going to be to completely dry him up and make him stagger and make him struggle. You know, very similar to how it makes someone like Tyler Hero struggle, you know. A nice little piece, so if Curry and Klay, God forbid, are not playing well, you can go to Jordan Poole and get some much-needed offense. If we stop that, and I think we do, I think we match up pretty nice against Jordan Poole. I think he's still a fairly young player. What is he, like 26, 27, something like that?
Yeah, Derek White off the bench, you can defend him.
Yeah, see, so I think he has a bad series overall. I'm not saying that he's not gonna have a game, maybe 2, where he plays really well. But I do think there's going to be most of his games, his series, he's going to be inefficient, and he's not going to get as many looks, and he's not going to make as many of those looks when he gets them. I truly believe he has a bad series, but that nowhere does that mean that takes away from anything. That man has been incredible this season. Props to him. Probably should have been most improved player. In my eyes, he should have been. But, I mean, congratulations, I guess.
The Baitmates fans never got to hear my rant because that video didn't have audio.
God, yeah, your rant on John Morant. Let's not, okay?
Yeah, I'm not going to do that
Let's not let go, because I know you don't care for John Morant. Even though he's definitely one of the better point guards and one of the more exciting players to watch in this league.
Why don't you just get to your prediction before I get too angry?
Do you have another thing?
I went through all 3 of
mine. Oh, you
mine.
went through all 3 of mine, so that was the last one? Okay.
Yeah, so just to recap, our 6 things to look forward to. I'll mention my 3, Nate. You go with your 3, and then I want to hear your prediction.
Okay, sounds good.
So, who starts the game on Jason Tatum? We touched on that when we discussed Marcus Smart. Or not Marcus Smart, they play on the same team.
Draymond or Wiggins.
Draymond, Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton if he plays. But I think Kerr will switch it up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wiggins is his best matchup. You let Draymond guard maybe a Jaylen Brown or a Marcus Smart, so Marcus Smart has more trouble initiating the offense since they like to put the ball in his hands to start possessions. So that's one of my things to look forward to. Who gets the matchup on Tatum? Second thing to look forward to, can Boston be consistent on the road and at home? Just on offense in general. Will Marcus Smart bring it? Will Grant Williams bring it? Will Al Horford bring it? Because it took a lot for them to beat Milwaukee. It took not Marcus Smart. It took Al Horford, Derek White even, and Grant Williams all shooting the cover off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Can they do that again? I don't know.
It's possible. I definitely think they can do it. If you could do it against the Milwaukee Bucks, who we thought is the best team in the East, we can do it against the Golden State Warriors 100%.
And then my third is who adjusts to who. And like you said, it probably will go both ways.
Yeah, I think
Boston's got the size. Golden State has a little bit less of the size, but they've got their death lineup, which they like to fall back on. What wins? The height?
I mean, we got
lineup?
We got one coach that's much more experienced. I mean, we got a rookie coach here.
Yeah.
But neither of them are slouches, and they know what they're doing. This first game is going to be no matter who wins, going to be a baseline. There's going to be a lot of game planning from both of these coaches, whether you got Steve Kerr, who's super experienced in this sort of situation, you got the brand new rookie head coach. I mean, they're both smart head coaches, and there's going to be a lot of game planning. And this game, for game ones, are just the baseline to get the feel. Like, okay, that didn't work. Let's try this. And that's going to be the way for both sides, because there's going to be things. I mean, there's going to be things that both teams miss. Like, there's going to be either like the Warriors, like, oh, we need to guard up on the post, put more size in the post, or Celtics, oh, we need to double Curry more, we need to double Clay because he's killing us from these corner shots, you know. So yeah, so I think this is a baseline game to get a feel, and so we might see a lot of I don't know how to say this, like a test run game almost is kind of what game run is.
Yeah.
Not saying there's no intensity and it's not important, but like it's like, okay, this is the outlook based on this game, what we need to change if we want to win 3 more or 4 more. You know what I mean? So yeah. So, I mean, we're going to see a lot of switching, a lot of different matchups, so it ought to be exciting. I mean, no matter what, no matter who's matched up with what, I'm very interested to see that. Mine 3 were, I believe, we have Marcus Smart getting a 20-plus foot game to look forward to, and statistically, we are undefeated this playoff series when he does that.
Right.
And honestly, five 20-plus point games is more than I thought he had. So, you know, and then my other ones were, oh my God, what were my other ones? Oh yeah, Jordan Poole having a bad series. Not saying he can't have a good game in there,
right?
But I do think he gets stopped for the most part.
And you think Boston's going to win some more games at home?
Yeah, and I think that was the other one. Yes, I think Boston can't afford to not win at least 2 of the games. I think I said that earlier, at their own home floor. I mean, it's just kind of weird entirely to be a better road team than you are at home. You know what I mean? So I think we do better at home. I think the crowd in both of these stadiums is better to be loud and proud, and it's going to be crazy. These have to be 2 of the most rowdy fan bases in basketball.
Definitely.
I mean, so yeah, so those are the things I think we need to look forward to. Would you like me to give my prediction of who wins this, or do you want to go first?
I want to hear yours. I think I know what it's going to be.
Okay, well, yeah, I am biased, but I mean, I'm not biased game-wise, I believe, because I'm very aware of how good this Warriors team is. We got the best defensive team in basketball this year versus one of the best offensive teams in basketball this year, too. So it's a very, very fun, interesting matchup. I think just because of versatility and defensive prowess, I'm giving it to Celtics, but I'm giving it to them in 7.
Okay.
No less than 7 to me. 3-3 going into a game 7. Like, I don't even think this is going to 6. I think these last 2 series for us have been game 7s. We're taking the Warriors to a game 7. You can quote me on that.
So you think even if the Celtics do take the Warriors to a game 7, you don't think the Celtics' legs will die out on them a little bit in that game 7 after playing 2 previously? It's
possible, but I got faith in my Celtics. I picked my Celtics in 7 last series. I got faith in my Celtics. I think we could do it. Celtics in 7.
So I'm assuming your Finals MVP will be Jason Tatum, assuming Celtics win.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also shout out before you get into your pick. Let's just give a big round of applause to Al Horford, the person who deserves to be. He was at 140 playoff games without a finals appearance. Big Al is at least in the finals.
Happy for Al.
So yeah, I mean, if we can be happy for anybody, even if you hate the Celtics, like as a team, be happy for Al Horford. He deserves it. One of the best, most likable players in the league. One of the most deserved at 35 years old. What a stud.
Yeah.
And now with your prediction, I believe I know where your prediction is going as well.
My prediction is ever fluid. I still, to this very second, am going back and forth in my mind over who is going to win this series.
I know who you want, and just say it.
I want the Celtics to win.
Well, you want the Celtics, but you know you're along the mindset. I don't know what ESPN was doing when they were saying that 86%.
I don't think anybody actually thinks
I think
that.
the Celtics are the underdog in this series.
Agree.
I believe most people are going to pick the Warriors, and that's not surprising to me. I have no issue with that because that Warriors team is scary. But I know who you want to go with, so just say it. Just be honest. Be in your heart. If you're wrong, you're wrong. For all I know, Warriors win in 4. For all that I know.
I unfortunately think Warriors take the series in 6 games.
In 6 games, that's fair.
I think Draymond Green, Steph Curry, even though they did lose to Memphis in that closeout game 5, I think they revel in getting to send fans home angry. They love going to arenas where the fans are against them, Draymond especially, and tearing the team's heart out, or the fans' heart out. So that's why I think Golden State ends it in Boston. I think these first 2 games maybe tie 1-1. Then I think Golden State and Boston probably tie again.
Mm-hmm.
Golden State wins game 5 on their home court, go up 3-2. Golden State wins game 6 with some momentum. I think Steph Curry gets that ever elusive Finals MVP award. Although I would probably put him above Kevin Durant in most people's all-time rankings, which would make me upset.
If he wins this ring, he's above Kevin Durant to me as well.
It would make me sad.
But here's the thing that's going to make people mad. I still don't think, even after this, he's, in my opinion, still not number 1 point guard of all time. I'm sorry.
I don't think that
he's number 2.
Yeah.
He's number 2 behind Magic. I still think Magic, even if he wins the series. Now, if Steph Curry goes on to win, let's say 6 or 7 rings, I don't think it's going to happen. But he starts doing that. He starts breaking other records. Then I have no choice but to put him over Magic. But yeah, I think people have been arguing. Do you think? I just want to get your opinion on it. If he wins this, does he crack top 10 all time? Top 10 players across the board all time. Does he crack it with a 4th ring?
I have trouble joining in on these top 10 debates.
I think
because I wasn't alive to see most of the players that are up in the top 10.
Oh no, and I understand completely. I've watched some film on him, but I was never really there. You know what I mean? Like I was never there to see Jordan or Larry Bird.
Like I think Kobe, looking at his stats, is a little overrated. I still think he's a top 10 player, but
I do think there is some
affected people emotionally when you watched him.
Well, I know there's a thing of stats, but there's also, to me, I'm a big believer. I don't know if you are in the eye test.
Yeah.
What I see, Kobe is better than these people. I'm not saying he's like top 3 players like most people are, but what I'm saying is he is overrated in some regards. When you saw that man play, you knew that man was one of the best players in NBA history. When you saw him play, when you see LeBron play, there's no doubt in your mind that man is a top 2 player all time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I get what you're saying there, but like, I think my big issue with it is because it's so subjective, who is in your top 10, first of all, and who are you knocking out for Steph?
Yeah.
You knocking out like somebody like Hakeem, Larry Bird,
I
Kobe.
notice a lot of people have like 12 top 10 players.
Yeah.
You can't really decide. It's like with the top 75. Oh, well, Kyrie should have made the list. Well, for who? And then you want to start naming more people. Well, Dwight Howard should have made the list, and the list goes on and on and on.
All right, subtract somebody out of the list. Tell me who doesn't deserve to be in the 75 list. Tell me who doesn't deserve to be called the top 10 player all time, and insert Steph in there.
Yeah, and normally it's no one. It just kind of stays.
I was just curious if you had anybody, because like I don't know if I necessarily put him in the top 10. Like, do I want to say he's edging towards it? Yes, absolutely, best shooter of all time.
Yeah. I think when he retires, he'll probably be top 10. I think Kevin Durant has a good
He's still got a couple years in him, so
yeah.
So he's still got a couple years, a couple 2,000-point seasons, but barring injuries, of course, but yeah.
So, you heard it here, not first, because today starts the NBA Finals.
Warriors in 6, Celtics in 7.
We will see who's right. Although I like when I predict things correctly, I hope Nathaniel is right and that we get a Game 7.
Hey, I predicted the last series correctly. Celtics in 7. I predicted that.
You did predict it. And what he said came to pass.
Yes, it did. And then you had all these people going on ESPN and all these sites saying, well, they should have won it in 6. And they probably should have won it in 6, but I'll take the 7. I'll take the win.
So we are going to finish this video up so we can get ready for this Game 7. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Or Game 7, what am I talking about? I hope we got to get ready for the start of this NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Warriors, Celtics. Very hyped for this series. It's going to be a good one no matter who wins.
Yep, 9 o'clock, tune in, guys. I mean, this is going to be one of the most entertaining finals. This might be one of the most viewed finals in a while.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I am for certain this will be very viewed because I believe the Heat Celtics Game 7 was like one of the more viewed in the last couple years in the NBA. So, you know, we got a lot to look forward to.
Yep, so I hope this is a good game. Hope we get a good series. See you next time.
Gotta hope so. See you guys.